My name's Johnny. I'm the CEO and founder of Playlyfe. And I'll try to keep this presentation short and to the point. So, like he introduces, we are an online gamification platform. We have a developer tool, but that's actually not what I'm going to be talking about here today. One of the problems we identified while running our platform business is the most common application of gamification that we saw happening on our platform was by sales managers. Essentially, a sales manager today, he has a constant problem of motivating his sales representatives because their motivation levels directly impact revenue of the company. I think there was a very public message by the CEO of Zomato very recently about how sales teams weren't performing. And essentially, what we found out was that the entire process of motivating sales reps is extremely outdated. You have a manager who relies on an Excel sheet generally, and he makes his little rules, he puts some points on some things. At the end of the week, maybe he sends out an email, maybe he puts it on a whiteboard. But essentially, this entire process is an overhead and a problem for the manager. He's not able to do this effectively. He's not able to really leverage this into something that can work for the company. More often than not, he sees it as one more thing he has to do on his job. So essentially what we came up with is a product called Catalyst. So Catalyst is focused at sales managers and sales representatives, and the basic idea that we are trying to do is how do you get a sales rep to be so engaged with his performance data? Salespeople are extremely competitive people. They get really driven by their performance comparisons, things like that. So how do you get someone like that to get high looking at his performance, right? One of the biggest issues you have is salespeople often have a problem. You don't enter data into a CRM. You have a CRM, you have monitoring, you have reporting, you have everything already in place, but it really doesn't help a lot inside the sales process. So how we do this essentially is, I'm not sure if you can actually see the so those are like two small screenshots from our product. We actually released it last month, and we've been piloting it with a few customers at present. So how we essentially do it is, one, we create a personalized dashboard for every sales rep where he can actually see what are the things he's been recognized for. So sales managers can define exceptional behaviors, like he could define something like consistency, make at least 10 calls every week. Now, if he had to do this manually, recording this through an Excel file or looking at CRM data and figuring this out, next to impossible, huge waste of time, especially if he has a large sales team. Our software does that automatically. Another thing that it also does is it constantly notifies the sales rep. If someone else in his team just closed a sale and went one up him, it gives him a notification that, hey, someone else has beaten your score. What are you going to do about it, right? Another thing that we also have is leaderboard TV. So this is something that a sales manager can actually put up in a public space somewhere within his company, where all sales reps, managers, anyone in the company at all can actually look, and it becomes a point of pride for the sales reps to actually show up on this leaderboard and be in the top, in the top performers of the month. And this again is real time. So as people put in data into their CRM systems, all these things get updated. And I think it's a very well understood management principle that the more often you measure something, the more likely it is to improve. So that's sort of the idea behind this that we leverage. Then again, we enable them to run competitions. So you can have leagues, you can have tournaments where you have teams competing against teams, something similar to an IPL, right? And then we have a continuous review process. So one of the issues with sales also is the fact that every sales rep needs to know what he's selling. So we actually have a system that learns, that can take all of your sales training material, put them into short flashcard sort of systems, and it automatically knows when it's got to remind a rep to review certain sales material, depending on his past performance, how well he answered that before, so on and so forth. So it keeps your sales employees, they know their stuff on a day-to-day basis. They're getting constant updates on their performance, how they're doing, and it's essentially sort of a complete system to ensure that their performance and their motivation levels stay high, right? So why this market? Yeah, sure, that's almost done. So why this market? In 2014, the sales acceleration. So this is a new category that's coming up recently called sales acceleration solutions, and this market alone was $12.8 billion in the US. In the next, by 2017, analysts have predicted it's going to be more than $30 billion plus total addressable market size. In 2014, there were around 12 sales gamification platforms that existed, something similar to ours, but And they put together, those 12 companies together, they'd been in existence for less than a year or two, and together they had more than 2,500 customers, so it's a very fast growing market. There really is at present very few people based out of Asia. Most of them are in the US, and I think Zoho actually has a competitor to us. That's a solution that does exactly this. And besides all of this, the macro trend that's really driving this is the average sales rep that comes into a company today is from my generation. We grew up on video games. We are easily disengaged. We have short attention spans. And we really need something more than your average manager telling you, hey, you know, you're not meeting your target, to actually drive us to perform better. So, yeah, so ending with that, our target market that we're focusing on B2B inside sales teams and call centers at present, primarily in the US market for the call centers, and B2B sales teams in India and the US. We identified this because of the fact that these are actually sales guys who sit in front of the computer most of the day. Field sales and other people, there are different types of sales teams, but these are sales teams that we found where this can be most effective. So these are the markets that we are narrowing and focusing on. We believe the only thing that will really make a difference here is the quality of execution, because at the end of the day, the reason Slack outpaced WhatsApp or Gtalk or anything like that was because it made the person feel better about using it. So we believe that you know, people today expect an emotional quality out of their products. It's not about design, it's not about functionality anymore alone. We believe a sales rep must get high using our product. So that brings me to the end. This is our team. We are a small team of 5 people. We are a bootstrap. We've been a bootstrap startup for the last 4 years. For the last 2 years, we've been profitable. Primary business was a gamification platform, but this is what we pivoted into very recently. And right now, we're looking for funding to speed up our product development roadmap and scale up our sales and marketing processes. Thank you. Any questions?
Johnny, so can you walk us through on the current traction that you've achieved, and what do we look forward to in terms of numbers for 2016?
So the current traction at present, we have around 4 customers. We just launched the prototype in December. We have around 4 customers that we're piloting it with at present. We are refining the product at this stage. We had on our platform around 200 people who were using our platform to build essentially the same solution. So we have an initial contact list there that we are targeting at present. We also have a business development partner based in the US who's been working with us for the last 4 or 5 months, who's targeting the call center industry. So right now, our immediate goals for the next 3 months is basically we are looking at getting to around 20 customers just based out of India with this new product that we have. And then from there, we want to expand. Once we have a firm base over here, once we have a well-defined product, we want to get into a more aggressive approach to the US and other markets.
Makes sense. Any questions from the audience?
Yep.
What kind of valuation are you on right now?
Valuation, that's an interesting question. We can talk about that.
You want to talk or you don't want to talk about?
No, I'd absolutely love to talk about that.
Okay. Another thing is the scaling and the revenue model. I mean, does it work per employee or?
It's per employee per month is the model that we have. So the average market rate right now starts at around $25, $20 to $25 per user. So the competitors in the space, that's their range. What we found out is that especially in the call center space, the biggest issue is that's a very high. They're a margin-driven business, so they can't afford anything more than $5 per user per month, and that's a place where actually these US what Freshdesk is to Zendesk essentially is something we have as an advantage, which is why only the call center space in the US, we're not targeting the call center space in India because they don't have that sort of margins.
Sure. So you guys started in December 2015?
That's when we launched this product. We started in 2012.
Okay.
As a company.
Good luck.
One more question.
Just wanted to understand, are you a web-based model or an app-based model? Because sales reps are always on the move. They don't have time to access web and computers. So are you like an app-based thing, or you have both, or what is it?
So currently we're a web-based model, which is also the reason why I said we are focusing on inside sales teams and call centers, because they sit in front of their computers all day long. They don't move around. But when we get into targeting field sales teams, we are looking to get into a mobile app, which essentially they can carry around with them on a daily, day-to-day basis. So.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.